Good evening, everyone. Welcome to yet another conscious coaching conversation. My name is Divya Martin. I head the client and community engagement for Shinomics. I have with me Manisha Singh, who heads our coaching practice at Shinomics. And today we're talking about a very commonly spoken about topic, I feel, these days, which is the whole topic about balance. So a little bit of context as well. At Shinomics, every month we like to focus on different themes, just to kind of help us also deep dive into those themes, to really think about what are tools and tips that can help individuals, especially when dealing with various challenges, etc., around particular themes. And this month, we thought the whole theme of balance was something that was very top of mind for a lot of us, especially considering we have been trying to maintain some semblance of balance in our lives. And so we thought today's conversation could also be something that gave us an opportunity to share with everyone how we've been managing, very honestly. We've been managing our lives and trying to bring in balance, but also look at what has worked for many people and what can work for many people as well. So to kick off the conversation, Manisha, I have a question. You wrote a really interesting article about your own journey of finding balance recently. And I loved in that article how you wove in how mindfulness has helped you in helping you find this balance for yourself, right? Could you speak a little bit more about that for us?
Sure, Divya. So, what balance used to be for me was a perception of something very static, which is once you achieve balance, then it's meant to be balanced for I don't know how much time. I hadn't thought about it, but it's supposed to be balanced. What Our work at Genomics enabled me to see through mindfulness, because it's the awareness that emerges from paying attention on purpose, moment to moment, was that when one looks at balance more as a verb, which is like how do you balance, like balancing rather, that's when something very liberating happens. The acceptance of that fact that things will change moment to moment, and hence you will get out of balance and then you come back again. That was very liberating, because that way being out of balance is not judged as being bad, by being bad, or something that you need to fix. It's very normal, because things are so dynamic. So that was number one. The second thing was that when we look at balance in conjunction with harmony in life, uh, that's when it seems very much within reach, because you're then able to look at the bigger picture in context with what's the long term vision. So it's okay if priorities have shifted this moment. You will get an opportunity to then refocus and shift the lens. So looking at it in the context of really harmony in life, and how different areas of life can intersect with each other, um, connect with each other, that again was very empowering, very enabling. And the third piece was, I think, this awareness that very often when we look at balance, we feel that time should be equally distributed. um, but just adding one dimension of depth to it, that it may not be equal. There may be friends or family with whom on a particular day you may not be able to spend as much time as you allocate to work, but if you are fully present and those moments are deep, that really makes a difference. So I think mindfulness has helped me add more dimension to it. And just now there's a formula that's come to my mind, Divya, which is WIN, which is what's important now. You focus, and the next moment something else becomes, you refocus, and that's okay. So that's really what mindfulness has brought to my life. But I've seen that having worked with you, I really admire you for how you shift the lens moment to moment, and how you have also started using technology as an enabler. So, would you like to share that?
Yes, absolutely. And it's slightly funny that I'm talking about technology because I'm one of the most technologically challenged people I know. But that said, what I realized, especially this year, is that uh, for me to be able to feel like my life is in balance, I needed to get as much support as I could. And that support meant even my children coming and reminding me that, you know what, you've been on calls all day, it's 5 p.m. Do you want to like take a break? So I have two children, and my elder son very often comes and tells me that you've not left the room in so many hours. So that is in for me a form of support. But I also realized later that slightly later, I guess, in this year, that technology can help me because I'm in front of the laptop so much as it is. So, one of the things, for example, I've done is that in my work calendar, I've blocked out an hour in the evening every day. Just says spend time with kids. That's what it says. And it pops up for me, right? A reminder pops up. So 10 minutes before that time, I get a reminder saying, you know what, it's time to take a break now. And it also then is a reminder that I cannot double block that time. So I don't have any other meetings that I set up at that time. And I'm usually away from my laptop at that time. Some days I can't do an hour, I will do half an hour. That's fine. But at least I know that I have that time set aside. And that gives me a sense of mental balance because I'm like, okay, I am working, but I'm also able to take a break in between. Another for me new thing that I found out, and this might not be new, very honestly, it might have been around for ages, but I just recently came across, is that on Instagram, and I'm quoting Instagram because I realized I started going to Instagram for those dopamine hits or whatever it is that we get when we look at these pictures. And I realized I'm spending so much time on it. And I was getting very irritated with myself for that as well. Because before I knew it, I've spent an hour on Insta and I could have just been reading a book or something at that time. So I realized later that there is in your own profile, and I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'm going to show this in case there's anyone else who's not heard of it. But there is an option here that says, ooh, I hope you can see it, your activity. The second option there. And if you click on that, it gives you a time, how much time you spent over a week on
Wow,
Insta.
I can see that.
Yes.
Wow.
And the best part is you can set a daily reminder. There's an option at the bottom here. I hope you get to see it at the bottom. A daily reminder of how much time you would want to spend on Insta. And you can keep a limit to it. And once you've spent that amount of time, you get a pop up saying, Divya, you've spent. So I put a reminder for 30 minutes. You've spent 30 minutes today. So whether I choose to act on that reminder is my own choice, but at least I'm told, okay, you know what, you spent 30 minutes, and I can then choose to either quit being on Instagram and do something else. I can choose to go on, right? Depending on how my mood is that day. But at least I'm aware. I'm aware that that's how much time I'm spending. So these have been some of those, I guess, support systems also I've been leveraging in order to help me find some balance, because otherwise it can get overwhelming without you being aware of what you're spending time on. You can suddenly realize that you spend time on things that do not add value over the long run. So for me, that is what my journey has been like, because also I never used to be this way. I never used to be this organized. And all of these little things have helped me become more organized with my day as well, you know.
Wow.
But Manisha, I'm also curious because we do a lot of coaching, of course, through our work. And I wanted to understand from you, how does this whole idea or philosophy, in some cases, of balance show up for you when you speak to different people for coaching?
Yes, so as as a goal to work on, it may show up as um, a realization that um, things which matter the most are not getting attention, but then how do we bring back focus to them? Because uh, sometimes there is a desire to bring back the focus, but then the question is, okay, how do we bring it back? Because now there's already a rhythm where by virtue of which there is a perception of more attention to work, and then we're not able to tune out. And things are, especially now, because we are working from home, things spill into each other. And
Correct.
yes, what I've also heard, a lot of people say is that we are now spending more time because we feel like, okay, just 10 minutes more and then we'll get through more emails. So there are no boundaries per se, like there's no travel time now. So that's why there is no hard stop sometimes. So that's one, that okay, how do we now shift gears? um, then an interesting way in which it also shows up is that I'm very patient at work, but somehow while dealing with family it's not the same,
Hmm.
because um, there is this fatigue that sets in, and then
Correct.
it has to manifest in some way, and typically that happens in a place where you're at your comfort level. But there's also this realization that these are the people who we love the most, so we do not want to uh, have this kind of a vibe at home. We do want to in fact be even more loving to them. So how do we do that?
Hmm.
How do we create that balance? These are two interesting ways in which it showed up in the recent conversations I've had. But what about you, Divya? I'm curious about how it's been showing up in your conversations.
Yeah, of course, it has been showing up the way you've spoken up about how, there are now no boundaries between work, between having to do work at home also, because that is also work for many people, and also then finding your own time. But it has also shown up in ways where I've heard a lot of people say, how can I get support for this? Because I'm suddenly realizing I have so much on my plate, and it is not humanly possible for one person to manage so much. So what do I do, right? Do I delegate work? Do I get in someone else who can support me? And that work could be work at home or work at the office. So that is one way that definitely comes up. And then another one is also in terms of saying it, saying, what, I don't feel like this is balance for me. I need this. So asking for that help or support is then another thing, because knowing that I need support is one, but actually asking for it goes one level more than that, right? More than just the awareness. So those are ways in which for me, at least in the coaching conversations, it's come up. But it's been interesting because I feel, especially because now everyone is at home, right? It's, if you live in a larger family, there's in-laws, there's you, your husband, and possibly children, or however it is. But it's beautiful how different people start pitching in to different things also, and this also comes up in conversations, right? That, oh, one day I will make food and another day my husband will make the food or something like that. So that also comes up, which is a nice and kind of positive way to view balance also, that everyone really is pitching in to support the other person. uh, and Manisha, I'm curious actually, because for us also, right, this is important. It is a conversation we've thought of a lot in our own lives, and I'm just curious to know, do you have any rituals in place that help you bring in that sense of balance for your life?
Yes, there are two simple ones, Divya. One is um, my alone time with myself, which is just morning 10 minutes, the first cup of tea, having that by myself, and just using that time to either let my mind wander or not wander, but just giving myself that total freedom that this is my time with myself. That also includes the thoughts or lack of thoughts also then create the um, create the context for journaling that I do after that. And there is a particular, I remember we us discussing this during our conversation about journaling several months back, and mindful tools for mindfulness. And journaling is something that I love doing. So the ritual of just having that cup of tea and just observing what's going on then helps me go into journaling with that mind frame, that okay, today how am I feeling, just writing about how do I want this day to unfold, and how do I want my state of being to be, no matter what comes up, because that is not within my control, but what do I want to embody today. Um, and in the evening it's with my daughter, which is 10 minutes or 20 minutes of learning something together before we go to sleep. And sometimes it is mindfulness, and now she has very good vocabulary for mindfulness and different terms which she keeps reminding me of, which is like, the moment to moment. And
My
um,
goodness.
yes, she really enjoys that time. So these are two, one by myself, one with someone who I deeply love.
Hmm.
What about yours? I know you'll have some interesting ones.
I mean, it's been a evolution for me too, but I realized that before lockdown and before the pandemic hit, of course, I loved yoga, and that was my way. It was a ritual for me, at least, where I was really able to bring in that sense of balance for myself. So no matter how busy the day was, it kind of balanced it out. And then pandemic hit, and I didn't do yoga, I think, for more than 7 months. And it showed, it showed in the mood, it showed in the way my body was, and everything. And then I realized, because before I was so used to doing 1 hour of yoga, I'd go for a class and I would do it, and I can't do that anymore. And I was getting irritated that I couldn't. But then I realized, okay, it's again a mental block. So I've started doing like 15 minutes of yoga at home. And it doesn't need to be at a certain time, because before it used to always be 6 to 7 p.m. That was my time. But now, depending on how the day for me flows, I just fill it in at some point, and it's only 15 minutes. But I realized that 15 minutes makes such a big difference on how I show up every day. And so now it's become a really invigorating practice for me, even though it's 15 minutes. It's my 15 minutes. I close all doors, no one's allowed into the room, and I just do my yoga. And that has been my ritual. And that's helped me feel like, my day is balanced. So I'm glad about that.
Thank you for sharing that example, because I think it's such a great example of what I was referring to earlier, which is the harmony, uh, and allowing different parts of the day, different areas of our life to really intersect and flow a little bit, where you're not very rigid about the time, but you still do it because you have the bigger picture in mind, which is that okay, I have to do it at some point of time. So just not being able to do it at that time is not going to throw me off balance necessarily, because I am that dynamic, I am open to things being that dynamic where
Hmm.
things can shift, because when that agility is there, I think it's kind of energizing, instead of just making us feel bad that, oh, because I couldn't do it, that's why things are going off balance, just having that openness. So thanks for sharing that example.
Exactly.
Yes, and for everyone who's watching now or will watch later, would really love if you all could share what are your rituals, what does balance mean to you? Because just in this conversation, I picked up so many unique things from Divya, the tools that she uses, how she looks at balance, and how she's allowed her sense of balance to evolve from pre-pandemic, if I could call it that, to how things are now. And so, it'll be really enriching if we could share with each other. So please do leave us a comment, or if you have any questions. And yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for being with us.
Yes, and thank you very much, everyone. We look forward to seeing your comments, any questions as well. And we look forward to learning from you also, because I'm sure you would have so many things in place. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next month for another conversation.
For sure. See you. Bye.
Bye.